Hello everyone, today we will learn about RNA and its types, and in this video we will be concentrating on mRNA. Before moving on into mRNA, let us see what is RNA. RNA stands for ribose nucleic acid because of the sugar that is present in the RNA molecule, that is ribose sugar. Now, most cellular RNA is single stranded, although some viruses like retrovirus have a double stranded RNA molecule. The single stranded RNA molecule is folded upon itself either entirely or in certain regions only. In the folded region, a majority of the bases are complementary, and wherever there is complementarity, there the bases are joined by hydrogen bonds. Now, this base complementarity or the folding helps in the stability of the RNA molecule. In the unfolded region, the bases do not have any complementarity. Because of this, the RNA does not have a purine pyrimidine equality that is usually found in the DNA. DNA, as I told you, differs from RNA because DNA has deoxyribose sugar, whereas RNA has a ribose sugar in it. And the common nitrogenous bases of RNA molecules are adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. So you can see here the pyrimidine thymine that is present in the DNA is replaced by the pyrimidine uracil in RNA. So we get to see pyrimidine uracil in RNA rather than thymine. In regions where purine pyrimidine pairing takes place, there the adenine always pairs with uracil and guanine always pairs with cytosine. So you can see here adenine always pairs with uracil and guanine always pairs with cytosine. Now, in addition to these four nitrogenous bases, there are unusual nitrogenous bases also in RNA molecule like dihydrouridine, pseudouridine, which is usually found in the tRNA. Now, if we see, there are actually three types of cellular RNA, that is mRNA, which is messenger RNA, and then we have tRNA, which is a transfer RNA, and then we have rRNA, which is ribosomal RNA. Now, messenger RNA helps in transferring information from the DNA gene to the site of protein synthesis. That's why it's called as messenger RNA. Ribosomal RNA is usually present in the ribosomes. They are a part of ribosomes, which is ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. So, ribosomal RNA also helps in protein synthesis. It is the site of protein synthesis. And transfer RNA, also called as tRNA, transfer RNA helps in transferring amino acid to the site of protein synthesis. From the cell or from the cellular pool, from the amino acid pool, it will transfer amino acids to the site of protein synthesis. That's why it's called as tRNA. Now, moving on into the mRNA or messenger RNA. In 1961, there were French scientists, that is Jacob and Monod. They named the messenger RNA for the RNA carrying information for protein synthesis from the DNA gene to the ribosomes, where ribosomes are the site for protein synthesis. So they used to carry the information from the DNA. So DNA is present in the inside the nucleus. So this messenger RNA will from the DNA, the messenger RNA is being copied. It will copy the information in the form of messenger RNA, and the messenger RNA will bring the information from the nucleus, that is from the DNA, to the site of protein synthesis, that is ribosome. Now, messenger RNA consists of only 3 to 5% of total cellular RNA. The molecular weight of average sized mRNA is about 5 lakh, and its sedimentation coefficient is 8s. It should be noted that, however, mRNA varies greatly in length and the molecular weight because most proteins has different amino acid length. The length of the amino acid, the number of amino acid that is there in the proteins will differ every time. Because of this, mRNA varies greatly in its length and the molecular weight. Some of if we see, proteins usually contains at least a minimum of 100 amino acid residues. Therefore, mRNA must at least have 100 amino acids, means it is being coded by a triplet codon. So 3 nucleotides will code for one amino acid. So minimum of nucleotides that the mRNA should have is 300 nucleotides. So when we say that the mRNA should have at least 300 nucleotides, it's because that is only in the coding region. Apart from that, mRNA also has the other regions where nucleotides will be present. So let us look into the structure in detail so that we can understand what is the structure of mRNA. So messenger RNA is mostly single stranded. It contains the bases adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. There are few unusual substituted bases as well, but it is not commonly found in the mRNA. Although there is certain amount of random coiling that you get to see in the extracted mRNA, there is random coiling and folding seen in the extracted mRNA. But in a cell, if the mRNA is having base pairing, then the base pairing will destroy its biological activity. mRNA will become non-functional if there is base pairing in the mRNA. Since mRNA is transcribed on DNA genes, its base sequence is complementary to the segment of the DNA. The segment of the DNA, that is the template strand on the DNA, will always be complementary to the mRNA because it is transcribed on the DNA gene. Now this the complementarity of the DNA and RNA is being demonstrated by the hybridization experiments in which artificial RNA and DNA double strands are being produced. Hybridization takes place again only if the DNA or RNA strand is complementary to each other. So they have done some hybridization experiments to show that the template strand of the DNA is always complementary to the RNA strand. Usually, each gene will transcribe its own mRNA. Therefore, there are approximately as many types of mRNA molecules as there are genes. So, how many ever genes are there, that many types of mRNA molecules do exist. There may be 1,000 to 10,000 different species of mRNA in a cell. These mRNA types differ only in the sequence of their bases and in length. When one gene, that is the cistron, codes for a single mRNA strand, the mRNA is said to be monocistronic. Whereas in many cases like in prokaryotes, what happens is one mRNA that will code for many proteins. So they are called as polycistronic. Cistron is the coding region of the RNA. That means cistrons are present usually on the DNA gene, which will synthesize the mRNA, which will code for the mRNA, and the mRNA codes for the protein. Now, if only one cistron codes for a single mRNA strand, then it is said to be monocistronic. But one single mRNA will have many genes, then it is said to be polycistronic. Polycistronic is usually found in prokaryotic mRNA, and monocistronic is usually found in eukaryotic mRNA. Now, why do we find polycistronic in prokaryotic mRNA is because the DNA length is very small in prokaryotes compared to eukaryotes. So therefore the DNA stretch, the whatever the DNA is present, whatever the amount of DNA is present, that should carry all the required information for the cell. Therefore they produce a polycistronic mRNAs. Now moving on into a prokaryotic mRNA. The prokaryotic mRNA at its 5' end has a 3 phosphate groups. The 3 phosphate groups are present because the mRNA during its synthesis, it does not require any primer. So therefore the nucleotide which is being added will have all the 3 phosphates which is attached to it. As I told you, the nucleotides consist of a ribose sugar, a nitrogenous base, and a phosphate group, triphosphate group. So therefore the first nucleotide which is being added will have all this. It will have a ribonucleotide with 3 phosphate. Ribonucleotide triphosphate will be present in the 5' end of the prokaryotic mRNA, which is followed by a untranslated region, UTR region, where this region will not get translated into proteins later. UTR regions is followed by Shine-Dalgarno sequence. Now the Shine-Dalgarno sequence is the sequence where the ribosome is going to come and get attached during the protein synthesis. After Shine-Dalgarno sequence, we have something called as IC region or initiation codon region. We also call it as a start codon. which is made up of 3 nucleotides. 3 nucleotides will code for one amino acid. So the start codon always will have all the codons will have 3 nucleotides, where the start codon is made up of AUG, which codes for formyl methionine in prokaryotes. So the start codon is same for all mRNA, and the start codon is usually made up of AUG, which codes for an amino acid, that is formyl methionine, which is followed by so many codons. So all of these codons will code for all the different types of amino acids that are there, like you have glycine, you have isoleucine, you have leucine, tyrosine, methionine. For all of these, the codons will be present in the coding region. Once the coding region is ending, the protein coding region is ending, then there is a terminator codon or a stop codon. Now the stop codon is usually of three types, that is UAA, UAG and UGA. UAG stands for amber, UAA stands for ochre, and UGA stands for opal. Now these three stop codons, either of these three stop codons will be present in the termination region, where in the termination codon one of this will be there, all three will not be there. Now all of this do not code for any amino acid because they are stop codons. Amber, ochre and opal are stop codons. Amber is UAG, ochre is UAA and opal is UGA. So one of this will be present in the stop codon, which will stop the translation process, followed which there is a stretch of nucleotides again which do not code for any protein, which will be again starting with the start codon, that is AUG, followed by the protein coding region. Many other codons will be there, so many nucleotides will be there, where it will act as triplet codon to help in protein synthesis, and then you have stop codon like this. One mRNA will be coding for many polypeptides or proteins. That's why we call it as polycistronic. Poly means many. Once these more than one polypeptide is being synthesized by a prokaryotic mRNA, then the prokaryotic mRNA will end at the 3' end. At the 3' end there is a UTR region, which is again untranslated region. So this is about the prokaryotic mRNA. Moving on into the eukaryotic mRNA. The eukaryotic mRNA has a 5' cap. Now this 5' cap is present at the 5' end of the mRNA molecule. In most of the eukaryotic cells and animal viral molecules, this is being present. It is being found. Now this 5' methylated cap is because at the 5' end there is a guanidine molecule which is being blocked by a methylated structure. At the 7th position of the GDP, there is a methane group present, or a methyl group is present. That's why it's called as methylated guanidine. So at the 5' end there is a methylated guanidine. So this methylation is the cap that is present in the 5' end, which is followed by a untranslated region. If you see, this untranslated region do not code for any protein. During transcription, if you remember, at the +1 the leader sequence, the transcription will start. So your 5' cap is from the leader sequence, followed by a stretch of nucleotides, that is your untranslated region. And in the prokaryotic gene, if you all remember the structure, in my previous video I have taught it. You can go through those video to learn the structure, where the ST sequence is there, which will be copied onto the mRNA. So after untranslated region, there is an ST sequence. As I told you, ST sequence is a ribosome binding site. So the ribosome will come and bind to this ST sequence during the translation process, followed by the initiation codon or a start codon, which is again made up of AUG. Now in eukaryotes, AUG, that is the start codon, codes for methionine and not formyl methionine, which is followed by a protein coding region. Now the protein coding regions will have introns and exons in eukaryotic mRNA. Now the introns will code for proteins, whereas exons will code for proteins and introns do not code for any proteins. So therefore, during post transcriptional modification, once the mRNA is synthesized, the introns will be removed, introns will be spliced, and all the exons will be joined together, so that the mRNA can go for protein synthesis. Before it goes for protein synthesis, all the intron molecules will be removed. Once intron molecules are removed and exons are joined, the protein, this region will code for the protein. And then you have a termination codon. Again, it could be either amber, ochre or opal. Any one of this will be present in the termination codon, where the translation will stop, which is again followed by non-coding region or untranslated region, which do not code for any protein, followed by a poly A tail. That means at the 3' end there will be many adenine molecules, as much as 200 to 300 adenine molecules will be present in poly A tail. Now, what is the function of this 5' cap and poly A tail? The 5' cap and poly A tails helps in the protection of mRNA. So when the mRNA is being synthesized in the nucleus and when it comes to the cytoplasm, in the cytoplasm there will be enzymes like nucleases. These enzymes should not cleave the mRNA. Even if they are trying to cleave the mRNA, the methylated cap will help it to identify that it is from the same cell. And if it is cleaving from the 5', if the nucleus is trying to cleave from the 3' end, then there are a lot of adenine molecules which do not code for any protein. So even if they are lost, even if it has been trying to cleave, and even if they are lost, it is of no use for the mRNA. Like that, it protects the eukaryotic mRNA. So that is about the messenger RNA. If we see the function of the messenger RNA, the genetic information for protein synthesis is encoded in the DNA of the gene. Now it is stored in the nucleotide sequence that is present in the DNA in the nucleus. So mRNA will go, the RNA polymerase that is there will transcribe the mRNA molecule, wherein it is copying the information that is there on the DNA onto the mRNA. So mRNA carries the information for protein synthesis to the site of protein synthesis. That is all about messenger RNA. In my further videos, we will learn about transfer RNA and ribosomal RNA. Thank you all.